Hello there everyone, I'm Idwal, but my real name's Matthew. Idwal67 is just what people call me in game. Mr. Idwal, ID, um, any of those sort of things. Now, most of the time in Rec Room, I spend time with my friends and doing role playing. But occasionally, one of the things I like to do is make stuff. This here is a weapon by one of my friends, Big Boy Epic, and I just thought I would show it off because, well, he's very talented in making this stuff. But today, I'm going to show you how you can make some very basic weapons with 3 easy steps. So, the first thing you want to do, I'm just going to completely put that there. The first thing you want to do is grab out your marker pen. Right? Now think of yourself, think in your mind what sort of weapon you want to make. Now I'm going to try to make a double barrel shotgun. So, first thing you got to do is go into your options, or I should say your, well, I don't know, so the planet, thank you. So, you have all these options of shapes that you can use. We're going to be using a few of these to make it. You also want to have a look at your gadgets. Go into gizmos, because that's where we're going to be needing the clamps. The clamps are what I think are some of the best items to use, because that's what's going to connect a real weapon in Rec Room to the look we want it. So let's start by making the shape of the shotgun. Now let's make it very basic. So one other thing I would recommend you do is having all these switched on, because it makes it building a little bit easier. So that's going to be the start of the double barrel. Now I'm going to quickly turn that off, all those off actually, and go into manipulate. Manipulate is where we actually can manipulate the shapes to how big as we want them. So I'm going to make it like this. If I can just manipulate it a bit long. Now this is a very common thing that happens when you're trying to manipulate. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to delete one, switch all these options back on, and clone it. And when you hit the clone, make sure you hit one of these, because that allows you to copy it directly next door to make them attach. So now I've got 2 shapes going. Now, if I quickly grab this and put that there, I'm going to manipulate that like this, up and along to about there. And now I'm going to delicately do this for the trigger. It's a very basic looking shotgun, I know, so it may not be my finest look, but it will suffice. This is just so you guys can have a little practice. So, when you've got these turned on, this one, as you will see, it modifies objective into world space. Now that means, because if you build in this, you see you got these like little cubes thrown up around whatever you're building. That's so that way, no matter what you build, it still goes back inside world space, so it makes it easier. And this one will align an object. So that means if I just grab that and hit move, you see how it doesn't go through the item, it just goes onto it, and it just like sticks. That's a very good way of building, because that way you won't go past it. But I prefer to have it like this. Now, let's go back and turn these off. Now I'm going to clone it, and I'm going to grab it with my other hand, because sometimes I find that's more comfortable, but that's just me. You could use it with the marker pen, but sometimes I find it's a bit hard to do. Now, what I'm doing is I'm actually making the, the trigger and the wailing part. And when you're trying to align it, sometimes if you use the manipulator, it will change the way it looks. Now, I'm going to clone one more of these. Oh, did not mean to do that. Actually, I hit the PlayStation button, which allows me to store button, sorry. And now I'm going to put that down to there. So I've got the trigger. Now I'm going to make the handle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the handle a different material. So I'm going to use a wood effect. So this one would be the best one. See how nice that this wood looks? That is nice for a material. Or you could just go for the plain cardboard look. So you could choose all these different materials and colours to make it however you want it to look. It really helps with detail. So I'm just going to keep on using the plain grey with the wood effect. Now I'm going to use this for the actual hand grip part itself. So it should look like this. Now I'm going to also do this to help it connect. Okay, give me a second, I've got to move a bit for the camera adjustment, because I'm using PlayStation VR. Now I'm going to put that there, I'm going to put that there. I need to bend it a little to the side, bend that a little more inward to there. And what would a gun be without a small sight? So let's give it a sight. Now if you use the flying thing, by holding the middle controller button, you will be able to fly any direction you want with that hand. So to fly, you just simply hold it in your hand like that and then hold it, and then you should get a green circle going around your hand. Then you use that to move like this, and then you hold the button and then you aim the controller where you want to go. The closer it is to your body, the slower you'll go. The further away from your body, the faster you will go. So, now we've got the handlebar done, we're going to go back to the site. So, if I'm going to make a little custom site, so I'm going to put 2 of those like that. So it may not be straight, but it'll look nice. And now for the final bits of detail. If you go back into colours, I'm going to give it a proper looking barrel. So I'm going to put this on the end of the barrels, which gives it like a little custom suppressor or scope. Or, not scope, sorry. I don't know my guns that well. I really need to get better at this. And there you go. Now that is a custom looking double barrel shotgun. It may look like a hybrid between it, but I find it looks nice for my first try. Now, the problem is when it's made of ink, I cannot shoot it, actually. It's just for decor. But if you want it to actually work, it's very easy. Now, the main thing that I find people concerned with when making their own levels and things is space. So, thanks to a few experiments and with some help from my friends, I found some best ways to get around it. First thing you do is go into configure and go into the item. Always make it decorational and remove grabbable. So I can't actually grab it now because I removed grabbable off of it, and if it's decorational, it means you can put stuff through it and it will just go right through it. It takes up half of its original space now, so it doesn't take a full amount. But that's not the main reason I'm making it decorational. But we're now going to move on to the next bit. I'm going to use a flintlock. Now, the only trouble I have with the flintlock is this. There is a way you can make it have unlimited ammo, but I don't know how. But that is the kind of thing that I find will be good. But I think for now, we're going to use a laser shotgun. Now, I bet you're wondering yourself, how am I going to make this into this? Well, you don't. It's like a little hidden glitch, but it's not a glitch because there's no glitches in making custom stuff in Rec Room, is there? So that's just why my phone's going on. So to fit this into here, I'm going to have to shrink it down. You use the scale item to make it bigger or smaller. The smaller you make it, and it still works. And the original problem is when you use to scale it, smaller or bigger, it wouldn't reload. But now, Rec Room fixed it so you can. So don't worry about using this gun like only 3 times and then you have to spawn in another one. Now, the next thing you gotta do before you go any further is grab a clamp. Now, this is going to be how we actually do this. So, I find you could do it lower or higher or around the sides, in front or back of the actual gun itself, depending where you want it. But if you're doing a custom level, you can turn off the ability to see this, but you're not going to see this when I'm done. So, you put that near your gun, and then you go onto wire. You grab the back, and then you actually attach it to the gun. And wherever the gun goes, the clamp goes with it. And now we're going to hook up this little tip onto the gun up here. That's what's going to actually attach it. But before we do that, what you need to do is select it, and then you move it. Now, I'm going to put this into the gun itself. So I'm going to put it in about here. Now let's make sure I've got it aligned right. So, with it being decorational, you can actually go through it and you can help see where you're actually aiming the gun. Now, as you can see, it's slightly tilted. So, all I've got to do is grab it and tilt it the way I want it, put it exactly where I want it, and then let go. And now that I've done it, you hit the freeze item. Now, you have to be very careful with this part, because if you miss, the gun will drop and you've got to replace it again. So, make sure you've got the green lines around your weapon and then hit freeze. And there you go. Now we hook up this part to it and then you just freeze the clamp and you freeze the weapon. And now the final thing is you've got to unfreeze the weapon. And there you go. And now check it out. My double barrel shotgun now works. Just like that. Now, the main concern that people now have is that you can see this. And no one wants to see this, right? So, I'm going to show you how to get rid of it. So, I'm going to put my weapon down. I'm going to completely remove my friend's. Now, let's just completely remove my friend's weapon. Now, what you got to do, if you go into the palette, go into settings, you should see a thing that says hide gizmos. You hit that. And now the clamp has completely vanished, and now all I'm left with is my custom double barrel gun. Now, to be honest, this gun to me looks like one of those old machine pistols mixed with a double barrel shotgun, and it's gone horribly wrong. But I find that this is beautiful as my first weapon. Now, you can also grab the bottom of the actual handle of the weapon itself. So you can still grab this part here. You see this little railing right here? That's what you can do to help you control it. So now, I can control it with both hands, like a proper shotgun. Or, I could go cowboy, like that. Now, let's give it a little test. The main thing that we gotta do now is make sure the weapon works properly. So I'm going to spawn in some breakable items, and I'm going to shoot them. So, if I go into decor, I'm going to spawn in a couple of parts. These parts are very good to test on, I think. Now, let's get a nice little gun range going. And I'm also going to put some large ones at the bottom for the easier target, some very small ones. And now we'll put something very, very small at the back as a final target. So, let's figure out what to make very small. I got it. I'm going to use a credit terminal, and I'm going to shrink it down. Make it that small. I've now got to hit this as my final target. So, I'm going to put it right there. Okay, now I'm going to grab my weapon, and now I'm going to begin the shooting. From no more than next back to the mirror. So, ooh, one shot. That was 3 shots. Alright, now I've got all the parts. Let's see if I can quick draw that little one. No. Oh yeah, they do respawn. Got it! And that, my friends, is how you make a custom weapon in Rec Room. Remember, before you actually go about working the physics of the gun, make your weapon first and then try to put the weapon in. Because if you make a weapon around the gun that you're making, it might go in a weird shape. So I find it's best, make your custom weapon, then find out what weapon you want to put in it, and then get the clamp, attach it to the weapon that you're going to be using to actually make it fire, and then hook it up to your custom weapon. And that's about it. Next time, I'm going to teach you guys how to make some very basic outfits using the costume dummies. With that, I'll be leaving you all. Goodbye, everyone, and I hope this helps you, and I hope you all give it a good try on your first weapon. And that's about it. So I hope you all enjoy my little tutorial on how to make weapons in Rec Room. Next time, I'm going to try to make a costume and teach you the best basics of how to make your own costumes. With that, I leave you all. Goodbye. And one more thing. Do you feel lucky?